The landing screen for CredentialStream for groups is always going to be our dashboard. Like I said, on this screen here, we have some interactive widgets that will help keep us on track with things that we have going on in the system. It's sort of like your pulse check for the enrollment and credentialing world. The highest priority items will be highlighted here, so you kind of know how to craft your day or your week accordingly. And what's cool about this dashboard is it's customizable. So you can sort of arrange the widgets the way you want them. You can resize them. You can create multiple pages like I have here, demonstrated by, separating your expiration widgets from your task management widgets, etc. Or of course, you can have them all on one screen. Each of these widgets bring to the table a little bit different information. Of course, with our provider expirables widget here, we can see any of the documentation that we have for our providers that are set to expire. And this also includes payer contracts as well. And with the interactive ability for the widget, we can actually click in to find more information and drill down to see exactly what's coming due or what's expired for our providers. The next widget you'll see to the far right mostly centers on our medical licenses. We want to see exactly what's expired, what's coming due, how many providers might be missing a simple medical license record, and of course the currency of all of those records. Because as you know, if a provider has a lapsed license, that's a big problem. So we definitely want to stay on top of that and make sure that none of those become expired for our physicians. The next widget we'll talk about here is our payer contracts widget. So this one will show you what you have in line for your location enrollments as well as your provider enrollments. We're going to show you what's in progress or pending. We're going to show you what's important and what's due today. And then we're going to show you what you have marked as follow-up for your communication back with those payers to get progress reports. And then the last widget to the far lower right here, we'll see mainly centered around task management. The next few areas we'll be talking about is data management. So it's important, of course, to keep track of all of your providers and all of their historical and current information, right? And so here you can see we have our provider roster. We have different ways to add providers into the platform that include integration with some public sites that we're able to get some information in through our provider portfolio import, and we are also able to bring in provider data through CAQH as well. But diving into the profile here, you can see we're capturing all sorts of data for our provider. And again, that includes current as well as historical. For this particular provider, we can see everything that's coming due for him exactly within 60 days. I can also toggle between the expired items to see what have I missed? What do I need to update for this provider? And I can update those records from this screen. We'll dive into our organization next. This is going to be the highest level of the hierarchy of all three. So the organization is first, locations, and then you can link your providers accordingly. But your organization is going to be centered around your tax ID number. A couple of call outs here I want to make is we can see any of our locations linked to the organization. And by clicking in any of these areas, we can dive into that organization profile easily. Another area that we're tracking here is expirables for the organization. Every service location that you have, you can store information based on that specific address. That would include specialty, CLIA certificates, languages that are spoken at the individual locations. What's important as well is equipment. So if you're a radiology group out there and you have a lot of equipment that you need to store and track expirations for, we can definitely handle that for you. Let's talk about payer contracts, because enrollment's a big part of this platform, not only data maintenance, but also enrollment. So here we can see all of our payer contracts by location. And again, notice we have some hyperlinks here. We can dive into any of those entities if needed. And we also have our defined addresses here. For tracking processes outside of payer enrollment world, we have our task management feature here. And it's customizable, 100% customizable. So if you have a process for a provider that you want to track in here, maybe it's recruiting or onboarding a provider, maybe it's a hospital appointment application that you need to complete that has multiple steps to it. CAQH attestation is a great example as well, where it has a multi-step sort of process that you need to follow. So here you can create your task, you can give it a name, a reasonable time frame for it to be due. Here's some steps we outlined for this process. So if once we assign this to a user, they get a notification through email that they have a new task, they can log in and take a look at that and start building on those steps that you have outlined for that particular user. On the task management screen here, you can create a new task. You can assign the user, and again, this would be the user that would receive the notifications. They can be reassigned at any time. So if it's a multi-step process that goes through multiple people or multiple departments, that can be reassigned accordingly. One other cool feature that we have in CredentialStream for Groups is the way to view information. So we call this our quick view, and we can view information across all of our providers. For example, if we want to see a certain provider that speaks French, we can look at all the languages across all providers. It's a great bird's eye view to not only get information for your providers, but also to review the information. If you notice there's something missing, you can add it directly on this screen without having to go to that individual provider's profile to do so. Of course, if we need to update something as well, we can dive into that record and make the changes as needed. One other great feature we have, and we're expanding on very soon, is the monitoring feature. This one here provides you verifications for SAM, OIG, and DEA, and we can do all three entities at one time. We can do our entire roster of providers at one time, and we can trigger that query very quickly. And we definitely would want to show you a lot more, so feel free to click the schedule demo button and we'll take a deeper dive into CredentialStream for Groups.